is indeed my pleasure to stand here today to bring greetings at the official launch of this major organized crime and anti-corruption task force, which is being launched today as a counterforce to what has been assessed to be the Tier 1 threat facing our country. Tier 1 threats being the clear and present danger posed by transnational organized crime, corruption, and gangs. For many years, we've been focusing attention on the gangs and the organized crime syndicates without paying much attention to the facilitators of organized crime. And this idea of the creation of a multi-agency task force to focus on the dirty dozen, we're going to call them the people, the kingfish, the original kingfish, but the dirty dozens, and those who facilitate them, is a new direction which is being taken by law enforcement in Jamaica with support from other agencies to ensure that not only do we arrest offenders and secure convictions, but this time around the intention is to impose on those who benefit from crime some severe costs. It has always been argued that we should try and take the profit out of crime. We all need to understand that criminals do not need to profit from crimes in order to benefit from crime. They don't need to profit from sale of drugs. They don't need to profit from the sale of illegal commodities. All they need to do is sell it and recover some money, and they enrich themselves. So the idea of MOCA is not just simply to make crime unprofitable, but to ensure that those who think about involvement in crime understand that there will be a cost to them for getting involved in crime, and that cost may be more than what the criminal activities are worth. That's the idea that we want to transmit to individuals who continue to benefit from criminal activities. I am delighted that I am in the JCF at a time when we are making this very bold move. It promises perhaps the greatest blow that organized crime can face in Jamaica. Much of our efforts in the past, though well-intentioned, have never delivered the results that we want, because criminals have always managed to continue with their criminal activities, notwithstanding the prosecutions we make, notwithstanding the convictions we gain, and notwithstanding the token effort that is made to take away some of their assets. It is hoped that this will be the determining factor for individuals who are actually involved in crime now, or those who may even consider getting involved in crime in the future. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is pleased to be the agency which will provide the bulk of resources for this task force, even though it is going to be supported by other agencies. The level of importance which has been attached to the task force signals the commitment of the JCF, the alignment to our strategic priorities. Mr. Carl Williams, Assistant Commissioner of Police, has been asked to head it up. Carl brings to this task force a wealth of knowledge and experience, not just working in the Narcotics division, but in working with our international partners who will be supporting us on this venture as well. Carl recently gave up an assignment in Area 1 where he was responsible for the divisions of St. James, Hanover, Trinalny, and Westmoreland. And he was the person who conceptualized the anti-lottery scam task force. You may all be aware of the severe criminal impact that the lottery scam has had on crime and security in the western region of Jamaica. And we have had tremendous successes recently because of the launch of this task force out in St. James. So if the launch, if the effectiveness and the results that we are getting from this task force is anything to go by, then I think MOCA is in good hands. I would like to commit to the government, Honorable Minister, and the citizens of Jamaica the full support, full backing of the Jamaica Constabulary Force in ensuring that this task force works and that it delivers the results that we so long desire. I would like to as well use the opportunity to appeal for full cooperation from all quarters. I know that there are individuals who may be tempted to criticize us for launching another task force. And this is always something that accompanies any new attempt at dealing with the crime problem in Jamaica. But there is justification for this task force. The criminals are adaptable. The criminals are operating in network structures. The criminals study our strategies, and they can reorganize, restructure themselves to defeat us. If we are unwilling to reorganize, to restructure, and to build new capabilities, and to attack and defeat their strategies, we'll always be playing catching up. And that is why we believe in the value, in the logic of a multi-agency task force like this, and we'll give it our full support. So let me use the opportunity to thank everyone who is going to cooperate and participate with us in this one. Let me thank you, Minister of National Security, for the political lead that you have given to this effort. Let me thank you, Professor Tony Clayton, for the time you have spent with us, bringing academic insights to bear on our crime-fighting strategies. And let me all wish Carl and his team very, very early successes in this operation.
MOCA has been created to focus on major organized crime bosses and their co-conspirators, as well as public officials who are involved in high-level corruption. With national jurisdiction, MOCA draws on the expertise and experience of all our law enforcement agencies, and the work of the task force will be supported through vital collaboration with our international partners, many of whom are represented here today. I want to pause at this point to just acknowledge the tremendous support already received from our British and American partners. You will have noticed that our official logo features the image of an octopus, which, as you know, is an organism with many tentacles. These tentacles are symbolic of the diverse range of entities that constitute MOCA, as well as the scope and reach of the investigations that we will pursue. Without revealing too much, I can tell you that a typical MOCA investigation will involve the coordination of all our security and law enforcement elements, concentrating upon a single target. Our primary targets will include individuals who are involved at the top end in organized crime, narcotics trafficking, money laundering, serious fraud, and breaches of our anti-corruption laws. In keeping with our objective, we have employed rigorous selection criteria and integrity testing procedures, which include polygraph examinations for each candidate. We will spare no effort in ensuring that MOCA will be an effective task force that will employ the highest standards of professionalism, even as we remain unrelenting in our pursuit of those who consider themselves to be outside of the reach of the rule of law.
Ladies and gentlemen, we know that for decades, our approach towards fighting organized crime has been focused on disrupting specific forms of criminal activity. But organized crime still continues to thrive. Illegal narcotics and weapons are still being traded, and criminal activity is still inflicting serious social and economic harm on the nation. While working with Professor Clayton and putting together a national security policy earlier this year, coming out of that process, we assessed that one of the main reasons why the conventional approach had not succeeded is that it doesn't allow for the flexibility and adaptability demonstrated by successful criminals, many of whom have been adept at identifying and moving into new areas of criminal activity. Therefore, if one form of crime becomes more lucrative and less risky than another, criminals will usually adapt and change their tactics accordingly. The Italian mafia, for example, have defrauded the European Commission for subsidies for wind turbines. The Mexican drug cartels now make as much money from illegal oil sales as from cocaine. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are today embarking on a challenging but profoundly important initiative. Some of the facilitators in particular have contacts in law enforcement, customs, and other arms of government, which provide them with good intelligence. And many of them have influence, money, political allies, and other assets. These will undoubtedly be used to attempt to undermine the work and credibility of MOCA. But I'm confident that this team being assembled, a fully vetted team that is very capable, and that they possess the will to seek out and prosecute criminals and their facilitators wherever they exist and regardless of their connections. The initiative is greatly strengthened by the commitments of support, material and otherwise, from our international partners, as well as our colleague, our partner ministries and agencies. We're also hoping that Jamaicans of goodwill who have information about the operations or the concealed assets of these kingpins, their facilitators, or corrupt public officials will pass on this information to MOCA, and they can be assured of its confidentiality. There are a number of mechanisms being put in place to even allow for this information to be passed on anonymously. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.